With us this morning, he wrote the book How Rich People Think, and earlier we talked to Steve about what separates rich people from the rest of us. Good morning again. Thanks for being here.
Morning.
Now he's sharing 5 steps before, of course, you read the book. 5 steps to getting rich. So let's start with step number 1. Listen up. Okay. Step number 1 is study the differences in thinking between middle class and world class. Study how rich people think about money and follow their lead. Study how average people think so you can avoid falling into the same trap.
Yeah, study how the wealthy think and then see how you think and see how close together they are.
And they're not going to be close.
Probably not. Unless you're rich, they probably are. But otherwise, they may be. And when I studied, I couldn't believe. I understood why I was broke once I started studying rich people.
Really? All right, step 2, associate with the rich through books, audio programs, video programs, seminars, charity events, art auctions, country clubs. Consciousness is contagious. Exposure to their level of thinking about money will permeate your consciousness.
Yeah, years ago, I moved into their neighborhoods. I joined their clubs. Sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. Whatever you can do, get around them. Watch videos of wealthy people. Go to their seminars, buy their books, whatever. Get around them any way you can.
Don't some of them look at you like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, well, you just have to make it look like you're one
right?
of them. Exactly.
Okay,
You know, when you drink the wine, make it look like you know what you're actually drinking.
Okay.
You know.
Interesting. All right, so you surround yourself. Step number 3, you say, is minimize exposure to fear-based thinkers who are broke. Fear breeds fear, and fear and creative problem solving don't mix. So you'll need to become a creative problem solver in order to be rich.
Right. I used to get around the wealthy. They talk about abundance and opportunity, all these great things. Then I go back to my friends. They say, "Oh, come on, Steve, you're a kid from Chicago. Like you're going to get rich, really?"
Yeah.
And it brought me down. And so I stopped associating with those people eventually because they were holding me back.
Isn't that interesting? Okay, step 4, you say create a written vision for your life 5 years down the road. If you could do anything you wanted to do and live, excuse me, any way you wanted to live, what would it look like? What would it feel like? She says start to train yourself to dream big.
Yeah, it's like an emotional business plan. I give speeches for big corporations. I have every one of them do this. Create a vision. And in other words, if you couldn't fail, what would your life look like 5 years down the road? And a lot of it can be done with money. Some of it can't, but a lot of it can be done by writing a check. So it sort of gives you the blueprint on to where you're going in the future.
Yeah, and just sitting and thinking about it is one thing, but actually writing it down.
It changes that. I don't know why that is, but I've been doing this for 20 years with companies, and it just works when you write it down. It just sort of crystallizes your thinking.
Interesting. All right, step number 5. Are you taking notes here at home? Number 5 is force yourself to grow up emotionally. Get mentally tough and overcome any addiction you have to the approval of other people. When you're broke and chasing what the masses see as pie in the sky, impossible dream, many of them will discourage you and plead with you to be realistic. So keep in mind the concept of realism is subjective.
Exactly. I mean, this is so important. People will tell you, "Oh, come on." If you say, "I want to be a millionaire," people say, "Oh, you a millionaire? Come on, how you don't have the contacts, the education, you know, fill in the blank." And you've really got to get away from that. I believe you have to get away from it and really just grow up emotionally is what we say. Get mentally tough and say, you know what, I'm going to do this for me and my family and, you know, the people I care about. And if people don't like that, they don't like it. And that's just part of life. And
yeah,
I'm going to move forward.
This has got to be tough, though. I mean, this is a way of thinking, a life. Sometimes you grew up with a way of thinking about money, so you're really challenging people to rethink everything.
Yeah, you're rethinking beliefs that most of us are taught as kids, that money is sort of evil, rich people are narcissistic and they're crooks. And none of those things are true. I mean, some of the people are, but some of the middle class are as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more people that are rich that are crooks than poor people who are crooks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And stop the them and us, right? It's all attainable.
Exactly. Start hanging around the rich. Associate with them, get around their thinking, and watch yourself change. It's amazing. It really is.
Interesting. All right, for more information, the book again is called How Rich People Think. It's by Stephen Siebold. Steve, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate it.
Rob, I'm going to start reading this now as you do the weather. Taking note.
Excuse me.